Jim Edwards here down on the ground in Las Vegas. I'm joined by Kevin Lee, who's been training here today in Extreme Couture. Kevin, we've not really seen much of you since the start of the year, so I guess kind of give us a rundown of what you've been up to over the last few months.
So basically I've just been changing up everything. You know, I've had to change the way I'm training, change my my diet, change my nutrition. When I told them at the end of last year, when I come back, the folks is gonna see a completely different me, and I think I'm gonna shock a lot of people, and I think I'm gonna turn some eyeballs onto this sport.
You know, I must say, you're looking pretty lean, looking very trim there. Have you been working out over the last few months? You've been keeping in shape?
I've been doing my thing. You know, like I said, I'm adding a lot different to my training, just so when I come back, I show something different. That's been my goal since day one of getting into this sport. I want to be the most complete mixed martial arts fighter that there is. And I'm only 25, so I'm still growing, I'm still learning new things, I'm still adding new things to my game all the time. I'm just keeping them on the wraps because I ain't gonna give away all my secrets, but wait until the folks see what's next.
I mean, I guess following that loss, there was a lot to think about, wasn't there, for you, I guess? Do you feel now you've had enough time to kind of reflect on everything, maybe it'd be fight week or even things before, and do you feel now you're in the position, I guess, to move forward?
Yeah, I said it before that fight. Experience is everything in the fight game. Experience is where you learn and you grow, and I'm still doing that as a man and as a fighter. So that one took me, I think it's going to take me to a whole nother level. You know, that fight, losing that fight, and just being in there and understanding the game a little bit more. You know, a lot of people talk about respect in the sport. However, you know, respect your opponents, respect all that. I respect the game, and that fight showed me to really respect the game at all times. So I've learned from it. I've learned from my mistakes, and I'm gonna be a more complete fighter and more mature next time I step in there.
When you do kind of reflect on it, what were the key lessons, I guess, that you kind of took away? I know you don't want to give away too much, but when you kind of think back to that week, like what could you have done better, maybe?
It's the mental side of it. You know, I guess everybody says it that the game is 90% mental and 10% physical, but we don't really train it that way. And I just kind of pushed it aside, and I didn't really, you know, all the stressors in life, I didn't really pay attention to it. I just kind of put it off and just said I can deal with it, and eventually that became a physical thing. You know, it made my weight balloon up. It gave me a staph infection. It broke my body down so much. So now I'm gonna be able, in camp and in fight week or whatever it is, be able to address those mental issues going into, so I can perform at my best. Because you didn't see the best me that night. That's all it boiled down to. So the next time that's my sole focus. Whatever happens is what's gonna happen, but you're gonna see a complete different me, and it's gonna be 100% of what I am.
In the immediate aftermath, you were kind of referring to the weight a bit. You said, I might not fight again at 155 pounds. Obviously, you are. We are expecting you to return at lightweight. What kind of changed, I guess, from the immediate aftermath to your decision to keep fighting at lightweight? It's
kind of the settling. You know, once I get settled into it, once I start to understand what all went wrong, you know, when something like that happens and you don't foresee it, you want to blame it on something. You know, you want to kind of pick that. Oh, like, oh, did I wear the wrong underwear today, or did I do this? Did I cut weight the wrong way, or whatever it is? And that was like my immediate reaction, and I think that's kind of natural. But as I went back, I sat back, I looked at my game, I looked at my weight. I kind of looked at all the rest of the weight cuts that I had, and I feel like I can make it better. So I'm gonna give it a couple more runs. I'm still pushing for that 165 division. I still think that that's the smarter move to be made. I think something has to be done with weight cutting in MMA, and I wish more guys would come out and talk about it and push for a 165 and 175 division. But in the meantime, I think I can change up some of my diet, change up my game a little bit, and make 155 safely.
Well, we're not, I guess, going to see a 165-pound division, but is there anything else you would like to see done, I guess, in weight management or kind of weight cutting?
I think California has the best plan. You know, that 10-point must system. I just wish, and I think we all could be on the same page here. Like, get everybody, get all the commissions, get a national commission to be on the same page. So when you go between these different states, you don't have California with their regulations, you don't have Nevada with theirs, and and some people are using different rules and some people are using other ones. It's just, let's just make it uniform. If we go and use California's 10-point system, I think you have to add the 165-pound division in that case, and I think it's inevitable. So I don't even see what the holdup is. We've been talking about this for a year now. I guess some things are just going to be slow to rise, but eventually I think the people and the powers that be will see that it's just a smarter move to make.
I guess the question now is, when would you like to return? And there's so many exciting fights out there for you. Who would you want?
You see me, I got the beauty of it. Your boy got a lot of options, so I'm already in shape. I'm already training hard. I'm ready to fight, so I'm ready to get back and put in that work. We'll see. We'll see what's gonna happen. There's a couple of interesting options out there for me. Barboza sniffing around up there. Might go over there, whoop his ass. Eddie's out there, might go whoop his ass. We'll see what's happening. If Nate gets some balls, might go whoop his ass too.
I mean, there have been a few murmurings from the Barboza camp that could be a fight that could happen, I guess, in the near future. Like, what would your thoughts on that be? Like, what do you see in Barboza as a potential opponent?
I think that's a huge fight. I think it's a huge fight for the division. He lost to Khabib. I lost to Tony. It's going to show who is ready to push back up there and push into that next echelon. So I'm excited for that. I love a challenge. I love a challenge more than anything. I'm not Khabib. I'm not one of these dudes that's going to sit back and look for somebody lower in the rankings and try and get an easy fight, try and get a warm-up and get my confidence back. I want the toughest guy. I think Barboza has been the best striker at 155 for a long time. So when I go out there and I'm going to whoop his ass from bell to whistle, I'm going to whoop him standing, I'm going to whoop him on the ground, the man ain't going to stand a chance. So when we make that fight happen, and that's a win, it's going to be good.
What do you make of some of those comments, I guess, from the Khabib camp saying that Tony doesn't deserve to have a belt because he fought a guy that was ranked number 7 to win that title? Like, what do you kind of make of that? I'm sure you can't be pleased.
They gonna say what they gonna say, but again, the rankings are shit. We all know it. The real fighters know what the real deal is. The real fighters know who's above. Yeah, they might have me down there and a couple of these bums ahead of me, but even they know that they ain't ahead of me. Khabib knows he ain't ahead of me. They gonna say what they gonna say, but Tony has beat everybody that Khabib has beat and beat them worse. So it's all politics in the game. Khabib trying to do his thing, but he know the real deal, and he know before this is all said and done, me and him got to get it in. He talking about he want to fight Tony, and then he want to fight Conor, and then he want to retire, and that's just to avoid fighting me. Hands down. Ali is run through here all day, every day. He see what type of work I'm putting in. He want to keep Khabib far away from me. So if he makes that happen, if he retires after fighting Conor, fine. But he know what the real deal is.
I mean, there's not many people better placed than yourself to kind of give a prediction for this upcoming fight at UFC 223. Like, who have you got, Tony or Khabib?
I've been going back and forth on it a little bit, but I'm still pushing for on the Tony side. I don't know. I think Tony's just going to be a little bit too much for him. I think Tony he does a lot of weird stuff in there. You think that you got him, you think that he's hurt or that he's, because of the way he moves and the way he absorbs some of these punches, but he does a good job rolling with him. He does a good job keep pushing forward. I think he's going to put the intensity, and I think he's going to wear Khabib out. I don't think Khabib can keep that pace. I don't think Khabib's ever been 5 rounds before, and I think Tony can keep it going and keep it pushing and really win that mental battle too.
Over the last few days, I've seen you've been working with BJ Penn. Like, how cool's that been? Like, and what's he kind of taught you? I guess we want to know.
Man, it was a dream come true. And BJ taught me more. He showed me a couple techniques. He showed me a couple ways to take the back, because he know that's my thing anyway. But just overall, it just showed me how much further I have to go, and it really lit a fire under my ass. He texts me out of the blue, and he's like, "Hey, I'm a big fan. I want to come out and I want to try and help you train." And he came and he watched me spar a little bit, and he watched me move around, and it's just humbling to me. It's because that's who I grew up on. I grew up on BJ, George St. Pierre, Matt Hughes, all these guys. Like, I wanted to be that. So for a guy like BJ Penn to say he's a fan of mine and say that he want to come out and help me, it's really lit a fire under my ass. I got to go out there. Whoever it is that's up next on the docket, they getting their ass whooped.
I mean, the fire's lit now. So what are kind of the aims that you have for 2018? Let's round this off. Like, what do you want to achieve by, I guess, the end of the year?
I'm gonna be a world champion. You know, I think there are big fights to be had this year. I definitely think I'm gonna make that Conor fight happen before the year is over. You know, I always put my year into motion. You know, I see him coming back, fighting either Khabib or Tony, losing to either one of them, and I'm gonna whoop his ass before the end of the year is over. So, well, that's kind of where my eyes are at. But by the end of next year, I'll be a world champion.
Great stuff, Kev. Thanks for your time, man. Appreciate it. And no doubt we hope to see you very soon in the UFC Octagon.
Yes, sir. Always.
You talk about this, and like, you know, you're talking about how BJ is kind of like showing you how far you've got to come, and you know, I think about like NBA, I think about Jordan losing to the Pistons. I think like of all these in different sports, athletes who have come back from, you know, losing that big one and made that leap. Is that where you're at right now, where we all thought Chiesa was where you made the leap, and now?
No, I think that's a game. You know what I mean? I think combat sports, the UFC is the only one that really, you know, people hold your losses against you for years, and it's ridiculous to me. You know, I'm not the same man I was last year. I'm not the same man I was 5 years ago, and I'm not going to be the same man I am a year from now. I think those losses, those experiences are really learn and grow, and that's what I'm looking to do. So I don't know, people gonna have their opinion one way or the other, but once we get into the cage, once I step in there and I'm fighting again for a title, then you can't deny me.
Yeah, it feels like in this sport people draw conclusions based on what they saw last fight,
and
right?
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I think TJ Dillashaw was pretty much written off after losing it. Yeah. When you look at a fight like Khabib and Edson, and you know, you gotta admit you were impressed. It was a pretty good performance by Khabib. No?
I mean, Khabib did all right. He did okay. He's terrible on the feet. You know, he's square. He's boxy. You know, Edson kind of ran from him the whole time. Edson was believing the hype. Edson, you know, just knew he couldn't out wrestle him. And I think the same thing's gonna happen with me and Edson fight. You know, Edson's gonna know he's not gonna be out wrestle me, and it's gonna turn into a one man ass kicking contest. But as far as that last fight, I don't know. I wasn't too impressed with Khabib. I mean, I ain't been impressed with Khabib ever, so I guess I'm a little biased.
So just because you're saying that, and you mentioned something, I mean, John Kavanagh has said, like, Conor would hit Khabib. Do you think if those two fought, I mean, like, Conor would get him?
Yeah, I think Conor would get him, and that it would blow people's minds, and it would blow them out of proportion. They would think Conor is just some fucking magical god or whatever, you know, because people are stupid anyway. But in the real of what it is, Khabib is very hittable. You know, he has a lot of holes in his game, and he doesn't really seem to be patching those holes. You know what I mean? He doesn't fight very often. You barely get to see him, but the same Khabib that showed up against Edson was the same one that showed up against RDA like 6 years ago. You know, there's just no evolution in the man's game. So if they were to fight, I honestly, I would probably lean towards McGregor. But first, Khabib has got to try and get through Tony.